Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of BMW Engines here on this fine Friday morning. Right then guys, so it's the next day now and I have just come to do a dummy build on the Cosworth. So this is the one with the new crank. You can see there's a little bit of extra balance in there, only very slightly, that Isaac's done just to fine tune it. The reason why it's pretty bang on, but not exactly bang on, is usually, I mean, I know on the when the manufacturers balance a crank, they sort of do a certain amount of attempts, and obviously every machine varies, so you don't know. But yeah, it's pretty bang on that one. So what we're going to do now is, obviously, we've measured the journals, measured the housings in the block, and obviously we're just going to do our final, while we're on the subject of plastic gauging, we're just going to do our final check. So what you can see here is I've got the rods out. These are the Bridgeway rods with the bearings in that we're using, obviously all standard. And I've just dummy popped in a piston and rod with some plastic gauge on the big end, torqued that up to 45 foot-pounds, 75 foot-pounds on the mains, took the caps on, and that is what we've got, guys. So if we just get our little gauge here. So we are aiming for probably 2.2 on the mains. It's near enough a 2-inch journal on here, so about 2 on the big ends with this one, because this one is going to be a bit of a performance lump, so we don't want to go too high. So if you have a look there, it's a bit less clearance than 2.5 thou. If we put the 2, that's the 2 there, so I would say it's very slightly smaller than the 2, so I would say 2.1, 2.2 thou there, which is absolutely cock on. If we go to the big end, we want to be running probably slightly less than that on here, so it's not the 2.5. So there we are looking on the thick end of that plastic gauge, we're looking at, it's about 2 thou, and this is just under 2 thou, just under 2-inch journal. So yeah, absolutely happy with that, guys. Very, very nice indeed. We've torqued these 4 up, and just with these 4 up, you can see that turns absolutely lovely by hand. So more than happy with that, guys. So what we're going to do now is remove that plastic gauge, get the other cap on, get number 4 cap on, get that torqued up, and that is the crank in. We've got a new PTFE seal in the back there. So yeah, cracking on with this one, guys. I think the next step is to obviously put the pistons and rods in, do a dummy build, check the height of the piston compared to the block face. We might have to tickle a little bit off the end of there. But yeah, we're cracking on with both builds, this one and the 1275. Right, Friday morning. Do you know what? Thursday, hadn't really got a lot of time to do a bit of footage, so I'm having to do it all now, guys. I do apologise, but we've had a little bit of a move around, bit of a change of circumstances here. Let's start from the back. So the big ugly box that's been sitting in the back of the workshop, which along with all the M3 stuff we need to get rid of, you can see now is empty. This box, or the contents of this box, belongs to Josh, and that is John Hale's friend from the Isle of Wight. They're on their way over today to pick up all Josh's stuff. He's also got the S13 that's sitting up in the mezzanine alongside two of John's Cosworth engines. So he's picking all that up, guys. So that, we've had a sort out. We've obviously sorted out the debt, the storage debt that Josh had. It'd been sitting here for about 18 months. But this is all the S13 bits. So obviously there's pistons and the block's been bored and all the rest of it. I think Josh wants to sell that if anyone's interested. It's a CA18 engine, not the 2 litre, but it has been bored with new pistons and all the rest of it. Knife edge crank, which we've balanced the crank. So gone through the cylinder head, so all good that. This is an Evo 8 engine that we've sort of done all the machining on. So that's all ready to go. Got a good crank there and not so good crank over there. I think that the block just needs bored. But anyway, that's all done. Yeah, there's the block over there, just give it a face. The Cosworth engine that earlier on in the video I was sort of going through, we're waiting on camshafts for that. Now the 2 standard cams that he had for it are no good. John Hales thought that he had a couple of spare standard cams, but he hasn't, and we haven't got them here, so we're just going to order 2 new ones from Newman Cams. waiting for an oil pump to turn up from Burton, and that one can be just popped back together. You can see we've got the block back from line honing on the block now. So those caps originally didn't belong to this block, so we've had to have it line bored. Obviously all the rest of the work's done, so we've just got to give it a good clean, a lick of paint, and that's the normally aspirated one for Pete that we can crack on with there, which is absolutely brilliant news. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks I shall get that all built up for him. So that'll be that one and that one all done. The liners have turned up for the Cosworth block that we bored out for the liners. There they are, last one in the box there. So I'm going to get those liners in this morning, get that on the boring bar, and we can get this thing. All I've got to do with this is a dummy build, and I think all the bits are down here for his, just a dummy build, and then he can have that one back, guys. But in the meantime, the other Cosworth block for John Campwell, I've put all those on that bench there, so that's all ready to go once he gives me the go-ahead. Obviously, I've got to do the machining, etc., but he's got to give me the go-ahead on actually building the motor up, whether he wants to or not. I'm not sure yet. It's all a bit chaotic in here. Try and have a good sort out. John Seal's engine here. This is the VX220. Lovely little car they are. We've been waiting for a load of bits, so that's the knackered crank lot. This is the one, if you recap back a good few videos, this is the one that had all been built, but the rods had been machined mistakenly with about extra 4th hour running clearance. So I think the deal is with John and the garage that's doing it, they're going to sort the parts out. John's going to sort the labour, and you know they'll come to some arrangement between themselves. But he's supplied a new set of Eagle rods, all the bits for us to sort out. Now this, we've done all the machining for it. The head's all gone through, the block's been bored and faced, etc. He's supplied a second-hand crank, which we've got to check. I'm going to do a dummy build, check all the clearances, make sure it's good for them to build, get it all on the pallet, and they can have that one back then, and that's another bit of space. If you watch my second channel, you'll hear the news about the Subaru engine, guys, and the update on that. If you haven't already, head over, give us a subscribe on there and a like, etc., and have a little watch of what's going on with the Subaru. Quite exciting stuff, to be honest with you. Oh, newsflash. Looks like I do have someone coming over to have a look at the M20 engine. So this engine, obviously we've got the stroker crank there. We were going to build this whenever we get 5 minutes, but you know what it's like these days. We have never got 5 minutes. So we're probably going to be letting this engine go. I have advertised it for a really reasonable price, bearing in mind it's got those very expensive throttle bodies on it, and someone seems very keen, so he's meant to be coming over today.
So over here, I've just been cleaning up some of these bits for this Vauxhall VX220, which was over on this pallet. You see we've got the crank here. This is a replacement crank. The old one is here, and you might remember this one did all 4 big ends. It ran for about 2 hours and all went wrong. So we've got the replacement crank, got the block over here, which I'm just in the process of blowing out. I've just given it a good clean. You can see we've faced it. So I'm going to blow out all those bolt holes and oil ways and everything. Then outside, so we've got the sump with all that debris in there, and the sort of main bearing carrier, what do you call it, like a ladder sort of thing. That was, you know, there's a lot of silicone on there, so sort of scraped all that off. Now we just got to get all that oil off, get it a bit cleaner, looking a bit nicer. And I think this one we're sort of just sorting out all the bits, and then it's going to go back to the customer, and they're going to have it built by their engine builder. So that's that. So there's the head there. That we did that back when it first came in, and they wanted us to go through it all. But the reason we just started sort of getting on with it today, cleaning everything, is because they've sent us the bearings there. So you've got the main bearings, big ends, and then in here we've got some trick rods, Eagle rods they are. They look quite nice. I'll show you one of those. Yeah, so we've got all the old bits here as well. We've got the pistons there. This front cover is going to have to be replaced because obviously the oil pump's integrated in that, and it's got some scoring on on the oil pump housing there. So that whole front cover's going to have to be replaced. But yeah, it's just got to clean everything up and get that one out again. What we're doing here then, Lee, we're pressing in some liners.
So the liners have arrived, mate, for this Cosworth. These are a bit on back order, these bloody liners.
A nice item, aren't they?
Yeah, they are nice, ductile iron. So they're not like standard cast. So when you hone these out, they feel a little bit like steel, really.
Right.
So yeah, nice and tough. So we're just putting the third liner in here. See, I've done 2 there. So what I normally do is I bore these with about 3 thou interference.
Yeah.
And just as a belt and braces, I put this Loctite inside the bore. So you'd never put it on the liner, because if you put anything on the liner, when you press it in, it's just going to scoop up and sit behind this lip, not properly. So this is a 620. It's just like a holding compound, really. Heat proof. So what we do is deburr the inner edge here. Very important to do that. All right, where there is a little recess that goes in there, but we just deburr that good and proper, because you don't want the corner of that block sitting up against there and giving it a false press down.
You want that liner to sit on the bottom of that top hat, not really be in contact anywhere else.
Exactly. You don't want anything on the inner corner there. Sorry, you just want that clear and it just sitting literally on the ledge. So we always run round there with the die grinder, and then obviously make sure that the ledge is nice and free, and then make sure the liner's clean. And there's nothing on it. I mean, you only need 1 speck of swarf underneath this, or sitting somewhere on the liner, and that's just going to sit underneath there and give you a false reading. So what we do is, using this bronze block, I just press the liner in at about 5 or 10 mil. Okay.
Yep.
And the reason I do that is because you can't guarantee that bed, because this bed is on 4 screw gears really, you can't guarantee that is going to be dead parallel with the bottom of this ram. So that is why I just press it in a little bit, and then I use this system, which has always worked for me, and this is really gives you the effect of like self-centering. You see that liner move there? So that just centers itself now, because it's pivoting, it's pushing on that center point there. And then you get about 1 inch in, back off, just make sure everything's going all right. I press down, and this is pressing down at probably about 1 ton at the moment.
That's kind of pressure on there.
And you can hear it when you know you got the right interference. You can hear it now starting to judder. Any less than 3 thou, and it sort of 2 thou, it wouldn't do that. Any more, and it's going to really judder, and bang, bang, it's too much. So now we're at about 2 ton. Now what we want to do is bottom that out. I'll put about 8 ton of pressure on there and just leave it for 4 or 5 seconds, and then we back it off.
Nice.
And that.
Now he's in there.
Job done. So we'll do the last one now, mate. Then I'll leave those for a couple of hours or so. We'll set it up on the boring bar, bore them to standard. There's usually about 1 millimetre in these liners to take out to get to a standard cosy bore size. And then it's face the block, hone it, do our dummy build, and that's ready to go then.
Cool. So, we have some good news about this EJ20 here. If you go over to our other channel, Lee at Bareham, there's a video on there. That was before I knew anything about this. So yeah, go and have a look at that, and also stay tuned for the next one on there, because yeah, it's something quite exciting going on. I'm really excited about it. But yeah, this one's going to be getting brought back to life. Yeah, head over to Lee at Bareham channel and have a look on there.
Well, there we go, guys. That is all we got time for, I'm afraid. As Isaac said, very exciting news. Head over to our second channel where you'll get the good introduction as to what is happening with the Subaru. But until next week, guys, have a great weekend and we'll see you then. Take care.